So, Solange Knowles just put Richard Lawson on blast, accusing him of betraying her mother, Tina Knowles, and she came armed with receipts. Everyone knows Solange doesn't mess around when it comes to her family, and Richard is learning that the hard way. In case you missed it, Richard and Tina recently finalized their divorce, but the drama is far from over. Solange is now alleging that Richard stole from Tina during their marriage. She's also suggesting that Richard was primarily motivated by money. Solange has even brought forward evidence showing how Richard allegedly manipulated his way into Tina's life over the past 30 years. Buckle up, because Solange is not here to play. It turns out Tina Knowles' divorce from Richard Lawson is way more dramatic than anyone expected. Initially, we thought it would be a smooth, drama-free separation, but Solange's revelations say otherwise. The marriage was reportedly chaotic and messy, to the point where Beyoncé and Solange might have been relieved when it ended. And if the Knowles sisters are cheering for a divorce, you know it was bad. At first, Beyoncé and Solange supported Tina's new relationship with Richard because they were happy their mom had found love again after her tumultuous marriage to their father, Matthew Knowles. You might remember that situation was filled with drama, ending in divorce in 2011. Under normal circumstances, Beyoncé and Solange would have been skeptical of Richard making a move on their mom right after her split from Matthew. Tina, being a high-profile figure and the mother of Beyoncé and Solange, would naturally attract a lot of attention, some of which might not be entirely genuine. But surprisingly, Solange trusted Richard completely. Richard wasn't just a random guy. He had been close to the family long before things turned romantic. Tina and Richard's history dates back to when Tina was pregnant with Beyoncé. Richard's sister Gwen introduced them. Even though Richard was interested in Tina, she was pregnant and married at the time, and Richard was also married. Despite his feelings, Richard respected Tina's boundaries. However, after Richard's divorce in the 90s, he tried again, but Tina wasn't interested. According to Tina's account, their friendship remained platonic. But David Brewer, Beyoncé's former vocal coach, has a different story. He claims that Tina's marriage to Matthew was strained due to his alleged drug problems. Brewer suggests that Tina's infidelity with Richard was a result of the difficult situation she was in. Brewer recounts discovering Tina and Richard together and notes that Tina was clearly distressed by the situation. Things only got messier as Beyoncé and Solange's careers took off, bringing the whole family into the spotlight. Matthew, who managed Beyoncé's career, had access to significant funds, which reportedly led to rumors about misappropriated funds and theft. Matthew's infidelities and another woman's pregnancy further strained the marriage. Despite attempts to reconcile, Tina eventually decided to end the marriage for good in 2011. Interestingly, Richard was there for Tina during this tumultuous time, helping her heal from the fallout of her marriage to Matthew.
Friends and hung out, and I supported her because she was going through a tough time with the divorce and the remarriage of her previous husband. And we just took our time, we became friends, we hung out, we traveled, and little by little, all the things that were naturally connected, the connective tissue with us, happened in a beautiful sort of evolutionary.
After being stuck in the friend zone for over 30 years, Richard Lawson decided it was time to make another move. He began pursuing Tina Knowles again, but she wasn't immediately interested. Richard was persistent though, and over time he wore Tina down. It took him another 2 years to convince her to see him as more than just a friend. Finally, after 32 years, they started dating. This lengthy history explains why Solange and the Knowles family were so quick to welcome Richard when he and Tina became a couple. Solange had known Richard her entire life as her mom's close friend, so she trusted him. Richard had been around long before the Knowles family became famous, and Solange believed he was genuinely interested in Tina for the right reasons. He seemed like a better match than other suitors who might have been interested in the Knowles name and the associated fame and fortune. Once Richard and Tina started dating, Richard knew how to play his cards right. Understanding Tyna's devotion to her children, he made sure to build a strong relationship with Bianca and Solange, integrating himself into their lives and creating a harmonious blended family. The proposal was notably influenced by little Blue Ivy Carter. During a family gathering, toddler Blue casually asked Richard when he and Tyna were going to get married. Seizing the moment, Richard thought it was a perfect opportunity. He even asked Blue for permission to propose, and of course, Blue gave him the green light. Richard didn't stop there. He also sought the approval of Tyna's daughters before making the proposal official. He knew how much Tyna valued her children's support and felt their blessing was crucial. In an interview, Richard explained, "I called her children and asked for their blessing. I knew it was important for them to be on board. Luckily, they were not just supportive but excited about it." Initially, Solange was fully supportive of the marriage, believing Richard to be the ideal partner for her mother. However, over time, Solange began to have doubts. She started to wonder if they might have been wrong about Richard and if his interest in Tyna was truly about love rather than money and fame. Solange even admitted that Tyna can sometimes be a handful, recalling an incident where Tyna embarrassed Richard on camera by bluntly pointing out his imperfections.
Vision the type of man I wanted. I prayed for the type of man I wanted, and I got pretty much that. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. But, you know, he has a lot of the qualities. He has a lot of the qualities that I love, and we're having a really good time, and I'm enjoying life.
I mean,
so
no one is perfect, but it's how Tyna said it that seems to have rubbed people the wrong way. Despite everything, Solange still believes Richard might have been using her mom, much like he might have used his first wife, Denise Gordy. For those who don't know, Denise's uncle is the founder of Motown Records, a major label back in the day. Solange allegedly suspects that Richard leveraged Denise's connections to boost his Hollywood career, and she thinks he might have done something similar with Tyna. Solange feels that while Richard may have genuinely loved Tyna at first, or at least during the initial 30 years, over time, his affection shifted into something more selfish and self-serving. Tyna, being the sharp and savvy woman she is, eventually caught on to this. She wasn't willing to stay in a marriage where she felt used rather than loved, so she decided to file for divorce. The marriage is now officially over. The divorce settlement probably didn't help matters. Tyna was ordered to pay Richard a one-time alimony. According to insiders, Solange was not happy about this and feels it's unfair. Reports suggest Tyna will keep a property in Los Angeles, another in Texas, all furniture, appliances, artwork, and personal effects at both locations. She also retains all earnings acquired since their separation, creative works made during their time together, a 2018 Tesla, a 2020 Bentley, and the book deal for the matriarch with Penguin Random House, along with a 1% interest in Kirby Beauty Management LLC. Richard was awarded a 2021 Cadillac Escalade. His earnings since their separation, funds from Richard Lawson Studios Inc., his SAG pension, royalties, creative works from their union, and personal belongings including clothing and jewelry. An insider claims that Solange thinks it would have been fairer if both Tyna and Richard had only taken what rightfully belonged to them, and she allegedly believes Richard is robbing Tyna blind with the alimony. There's been quite a reaction to Solange's revelations, with some people commenting that this situation is a classic example of getting what you think you want, only to realize it's not what you actually wanted. They say this is what happens when you marry a rebound. The red flags were ignored, and just because you knew someone before doesn't mean it will work out when you finally get together. People change over time, and it's no surprise if Solange appears to disrespect Richard in interviews or on the world stage. What do you think about Solange's claims that Richard used her mom, or do you believe she's just trying to save face and protect her mother? Drop your thoughts and comments below.